Shocked. A certain ancient king actually walked in Chanado's room every day. Shocked. A certain general actually raised 100 versatile monsters. Qiufeng is a person from another parallel world, but unexpectedly travels to the elf world with his own abilities. With the memory of the second emperor, Qiufeng can bring many surprises and adventures, but he is powerless. Watch and see. The protagonist has no system. The protagonist returned from time travel. This work is a slow-paced work. If you like it, leave a 5-star review. If you don't like it, please show mercy. Thank you. Female lead. Give whatever you like. If you don't like it, you can skip setting up a female lead. My motivation lies in everyone's 5-star book reviews. Crab. Chapter 1. Freshmen. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the first 30 chapters of this book, commas are used to express someone's intention to say something. The colon is used afterwards. In addition, this book has added some of its own settings. After all, sticking to conventions is not very meaningful. Furthermore, the place names in this book have no relation to reality. In the room, on top of a modern-style single bed, lay a young man with a pale face and a hoarse and weak voice. If there is an afterlife. I really wish I weren't so arrogant. But all of this was elusive, and in the end, with a heavy heart of unwillingness, I closed my eyelids, and tears could still be seen slipping from the corners of my eyes. Qiufeng. Qiufeng. Wake up, wake up. A middle-aged woman was vigorously tapping the boy lying in bed, and the boy slowly opened his eyes. Didn't I die? Is this the underworld? How come it feels so warm? At this moment, a sudden slap hit Qiufeng hard in the face. Damn you, you dog head. Drinking some horse urine will make you proud. Ouch. I saw a red imprint the size of a palm on Qiufeng's face. At this moment, Qiufeng realized and looked around at the middle-aged women in front of him in confusion. Wake up, what time is it? If you don't go to school again, you will be late. The middle-aged woman said while supporting her forehead. At this moment, a memory that did not belong to Qiufeng suddenly emerged in his mind, but this memory appeared so familiar. With the psychological qualities of his character, Qiufeng's lips showed a slight smile. And he thought to himself, ha ha ha, I've been reborn. It's just too surreal, although it's a bit unscientific. Forget it, it's all time travel, it's unscientific, pure illness. Based on current memories, after 2 seconds of contemplation, Qiufeng completely understood the world today. That's right, this is an elf world, and in his previous life, Qiufeng was a superpower. However, he awakened his unconventional eyes and divine language, which were hailed as geniuses. The result was a tiger coin, which was highly publicized and not poisoned by anyone. Hurry up and go out for dinner. Today is your day to choose the elves, don't be late. Then the middle-aged woman closed the door. Qiufeng also put on his clothes slowly and came to the mirror to look at his childish face. He couldn't help sighing, I didn't expect this guy to look exactly like me, and he is more handsome, but he is still no better than the adult readers here, hee. But then he became serious and said, in my past life, I was too ostentatious and too high profile to end up in death. Now, to revive my life, I must be more stable, otherwise there is a high possibility of stepping into the same old world. Then a symbolic smile appeared at the corner of his mouth, is it the elf world? It's quite interesting. Then he touched the palm print on his face, and Qiufeng not only didn't get angry, but also felt very warm. I was an orphan in my past life, and I didn't expect to have my own parents now. Is this the feeling of having parents? It's really nice. I immediately got up and went to the living room. As the restaurant and kitchen were integrated, I saw a middle-aged couple as soon as I opened the door. Qiufeng walked slowly and sat at the dining table, shouting, Dad, in his unfamiliar language. The middle-aged man, who was looking at his son in large chunks, said, "Hurry up and eat. After finishing, you go to school, and I'll go to work." Later on, Qiufeng started eating on his own, and he also learned the names of his parents, Father Qiulin and Mother Yuqing. Yuqing scolded Qiulin and said, "Hey! You don't care about your son's future at all." Qiulin took a bite of vegetables and slowly spoke up, "What a big deal, the country gives us that unless we are lucky enough to pick up a leek, we can only have a good elf. Otherwise, what do you want? We can't afford to buy elves." Speaking of which, Qiulin was also somewhat helpless, but more of a compromise. "Moreover, even if my son cannot become a trainer, he can at least have no worries about food and clothing." Speaking of which, Yuqing also sighed slightly, but there was no other way. It was an eternal reality that it was difficult for a poor family to have a noble son. Yuqing looked at his son and comforted him, "Son, it's okay to relax. It doesn't matter whether you become a trainer or not. I heard that trainers have a high mortality rate, and being a migrant worker can at least survive." Qiufeng. "Mom, it's okay. Don't worry, I will do my best to strive to be an excellent trainer, so that I can improve your life for the two of you." "Well, okay, my son is growing up now, but don't put any pressure on yourself. It's not a big deal, let's just focus on literature." After the family finished breakfast, Qiufeng brought his backpack to the bus stop and waited for the bus according to his memory. And Qiu, who had opened up his previous life's abilities due to his inertia, discovered that his own abilities could also be used. "Old buddy, I didn't expect you to continue following me, but I won't be young and reckless anymore in this life. Let's create a world together." 3 minutes later, a bus slowly stopped, and Qiufeng skillfully put in coins and casually found a seat to sit down. 10 minutes later, the radio in the car rang, "The second high school in Nuajin City is here. Passengers who get off the train are requested to prepare in advance." As the vehicle slowly stopped, Qiufeng also got up and got off the car. According to memory, Qiufeng is now a 17-year-old boy. Today is Friday in the second week of school, and it is also the day to collect the elves. Qiufeng took a deep breath and once glanced at a wave above the school gate. "In my past life, my unconventional eyes were able to see the attributes and abilities of monsters and items, and divine language could communicate with any language. Since it can operate, I don't know if it can be placed on elves." Subsequently, he used his unconventional eyes on Bobo, which seemed unchanged to outsiders, but at this moment, Qiufeng's eyes did indeed have a different perspective. Elf. Bobo attribute. Flight, general level. Level 11 gender. Female feature. Sharp gaze skills. Impact, sand splashing, wind rising, lightning flashing. Genetic skills. None note. Pok É Mon is very weak in strength. I won't go into detail here, and besides, Pok É Mon has unlimited qualifications, it depends on whether to dig or not. Qiufeng couldn't help but laugh as he looked at the panel in front of him. Since it can be used and trainers have an iron rice bowl, let alone powerful trainers who are the backbone of the country. After chatting with Bobo in divine language for a few more words, he went to his own classroom. At this moment, Bobo also had a bewildered expression on his face. "I call here every morning and no one understands what I'm saying." He actually understands. That's it. I won't say anything about calling the guard bald, will I? Although Qiufeng knew what Bobo had said, based on his past life experiences, even if he killed Qiufeng, he would not show off anymore. People only know their mistakes when they suffer losses, but Qiufeng's losses are only a few billion points larger. Now is the scorching summer day, and the heat is even more unbearable. The Carp King in the pond can't resist it, let alone humans. Is this the Carp King? This weak body can evolve into a fierce Cyprinosaurus. It's really unexpected. This world is more interesting than mine. Chapter 2. Filial Desk mate. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Qiufeng calmly climbed up the second floor of a teaching building, arrived at the innermost class, and according to his memory, arrived at his seat. Young Master Yi really loves playing cards as always, ha, said Zhang Jiehui as he watched Qiufeng calmly sit down at his desk. How did you speak, Jiehui? I call it seizing time. Do you understand? Do you understand? Zhang Jiehui looked at Qiufeng with a meaningful and lewd expression. Okay, I understand. By the way, did Qiufeng show you the code yesterday? Zhang Jiehui became even more lewd at this point. Qiufeng suddenly thought of a string of code that Zhang Jiehui gave him yesterday. If he didn't look at it, he wouldn't know. Look at it, Hua. This thing truly deserves to be a good desk mate, sharing blessings and difficulties together. Qiufeng swears. I am not compatible with drug gambling. If I break my promise, the sky will thunder 5 times. Zhang Jiehui nuzzled his mouth and said, cut it. What kind of gentleman are you pretending to be? Who doesn't know your character? Dogs can't change their habit of eating shit. Huang doesn't mention anything. I, Huang, am not compatible with drug gambling. Are you satisfied? Zhang Jiehui, 6, by the way, today is the day to award the elves. Do you have any preferences? Qiufeng paused and said, I don't know. Let's talk about it later. Zhang Jiehui whispered, I heard that there are 2 people in our class who have already prepared elves in their homes. That's also someone else's strength. Let's not think too much. We should eat, drink, and let nature take its course. That's the way it is said, but Qiufeng doesn't think so. After all, his abilities are of great use in this world. If he doesn't use them, wouldn't it be like taking a bite of garlic and noodles, and not spending a penny on Zhao Dahan? The conversation between the two only lasted for 1 minute, and 1 minute later, the class officially started. As today is the day to select elves, we won't be able to attend the popular math class. About half a minute later, a middle-aged man dressed in formal attire arrived in class 2 of grade 3. After arriving at the podium, he strategically cleared his throat and then strategically looked at the whole class. After a pause, he said, classmates, today is the day for you to choose elves, and I'm not afraid to tell you that reality is cruel. Then he took a sip of water. According to the information shared by our teachers, even among the free Pok É Mon awarded this year, there are still connections. Some good Pok É Mon will be awarded to those people in advance, although this situation has not occurred in our class. But there are many other classes. Upon hearing this, the students in the class have already been mentally prepared. After all, worldly wisdom is something that will not change in this world. Only by mastering it can we establish ourselves in a world full of talents. The homeroom teacher also sighed and said, but don't be discouraged. The aptitude of an elf depends on the level of excavation. As long as you are willing to work hard and give, although there may not be rewards, I won't say much if you don't work hard. By the way, when we pick up the elves later, class monitor by Hang Tian and Ling Xinhui, you two should go to the office to pick up your elves. Your parents have already prepared them for you. After hearing this sentence, everyone in the class was envious. After all, their family was definitely well prepared, and their families were also quite wealthy. Below, Zhang Jiehui leaned over to Qiufeng and said, Qiufeng, what do you think the elves of the 2 of them will be? Do you think they will be quasi-gods? Qiu gave Zhang Jiehui a blank glance and said, do you think Xuanchen is cabbage? Even if it's not cabbage, it can't be treated as gold. If this thing is put on the market, it's just an auction, and many people have to buy it when they sell their assets. Zhang Jiehui said calmly, that's the imperial family. I also feel very likely that, to be honest, I haven't seen what Yuzen's parents look like yet, and I've only seen them online. Don't even mention it, I've seen it in my neighbor's house before. It seems like his uncle has a water arrow turtle. Damn it. That thing is really domineering. It's just 1.72 meters like you. We will change the original elf height here, after all, the original one is not domineering enough. So he has really become a good uncle, so he can be said to have no worries for half his life. What are you two talking about? Be quiet. Accompanied by the class teacher's scolding, the two of them could only shut up. As the homeroom teacher's phone rang, the homeroom teacher who answered the phone also said, "Let's go. It's our turn, sports commissioner. Take them to equipment room 2, where we have the elves we have chosen. By the way, we will select according to the list later. Don't rush, it's almost the same anyway." The homeroom teacher's statement is obviously insightful, but it is also a matter of helplessness, and everyone knows it well. 5 minutes later, everyone arrived at the entrance of equipment room 2 and saw over 60 elf eggs placed at the door, but they were all white without any exaggerated patterns. Due to the lack of a class monitor, the roll call can only be handed over to the sports committee member. The sports committee member, holding a pen and a roll call list, shouted, "Jingzhuizhan." A boy over 1.6 meters tall emerged from the crowd. The boy approached the elf egg without much thought, picked up an elf egg and returned to the crowd. This elf egg leaf autumn seal has been checked and is a small lotta with decent skills. It has a bite. Gather Hainan, Lu Weijian, Jackie Chung. After more than 20 classmates, the sports committee member shouted, "Zhang Jiehui." Zhang Jiehui clasped his hands together and silently recited, "Ancestors bless me with a better elf. I am willing to exchange my father's 10-year lifespan for a better one." Then Zhang Jiehui came to the elf egg, looked left and right, and finally picked up the elf egg on the edge with all his might. Qiufeng smiled and thought to himself, "This guy is lucky to have obtained Bobo's Pok É Mon egg. Bobo is a good companion for beginners." Elf. Bobo attribute. Flight, general level. 0, elf egg status, gender. Male feature. Sharp gaze skills. Impact, lightning flash, sand splashing, wind rising genetic skills. Identifying and breaking through note. Bobo with average strength. Qiufeng thought to himself, for people like us from less affluent families, Bobo is already the best choice. But Qiufeng's gaze was fixed on the 3 elves from beginning to end, and unfortunately, one of them was taken away by someone. Zhang Jiehui returned to Qiufeng's side with a smile and said, "I don't know if my father's lifespan is good or not, and if this elf egg can hatch into an elf." After hearing this sentence, Qiufeng almost blurted out, "Yes, it works great, it works so well." Zhang Jiehui was startled and said, "Damn it. How do you know? If it really works, then I can only buy some supplements for my dad and try to get them back." Qiufeng, 6 Qiufeng. Chapter 3. Selecting Elves. You are listening at novelfull.audio. As the sports committee member shouted Qiufeng's name, Zhang Jiehui said, "Brother Yi, why don't you try using your father's lifespan as well? Maybe it really has a unique effect. Get lost, go to the dead side." After a cheap smile, Zhang Jiehui said, "Go ahead and try to draw a good one." Qiufeng came to the elf egg and first locked onto it. Elves. Undercover warrior's attribute. Fighting level. 0, elf egg status, gender. Male characteristic. Perseverance skills. Impact, sand splashing, slash, gather chi genetic skill. Feint attack note. A powerful off-screen warrior. Then his gaze turned to another elf. Elf. Nidorang attribute. Poison level. 0, elf egg status, gender. Male characteristic. Poison sting, no need for munta, otherwise it's too deliberate. Skills. Stare, poison needle, double kick, peck genetic skills. Fixed body method, chanting power note. Nidorang with good strength. At this point, Qiufeng was a bit conflicted. The two Pokémon under the screen were able to output steadily in the early stages, while Nidorang was able to output steadily in the later stages, which made Qiufeng uncertain. However, after careful consideration, he ultimately chose Nidorang and slowly held Nidorang's elf egg in his hand. If you're slow in the early stages, take it slow. Anyway, you have the ability from your past life, so it doesn't matter. You can run away when you encounter someone powerful. After half an hour of selection, everyone received their own Pokémon eggs, but no one chose the eggs of the warriors behind the scenes, which is truly regrettable. After everyone returned to the class, the homeroom teacher who had been waiting in the class early also stood up and watched as everyone returned to their seats. Be careful, even though the elf egg is relatively hard, don't fall. This is your future. By the way, I recommend you buy a Pokémon guidebook. If you really want to go to the wilderness, it's like a life-saving possession talisman. Qiufeng also felt that what the homeroom teacher was saying was reasonable. After all, his abilities were just like the elf guidebook. The only difference was that he could fully see all the information of an elf, while the guidebook could only see the basic information and level of the elf. Alright, as today is a special day, we won't be able to attend the afternoon class. Just go home and prepare to hatch your own elves. Also, I recommend that you buy an elf incubator, which can help with the hatching of elves. Although your elves usually hatch in about 1 or 2 days, having an elf incubator is easier. After speaking, the students were allowed to study on their own, while the homeroom teacher returned to the office and comfortably turned on the air conditioning. After the homeroom teacher left, everyone in the class looked at Ling Xinhui and Bai Hengtian. Passerby Jia excitedly said, "Hey, what are your 2 elves? Are you from the Imperial Third Family?" Bai Aerospace smiled and said, "How did I know? My parents didn't tell me what to say to give me a surprise." Ling Xinhui, +1, Passerby B said, "Oh, I thought I could see the Imperial family, but it turned out to be an empty celebration." However, this is not difficult for Qiufeng, as you can easily tell with an unconventional eye. Elf. Little Fire Dragon Attribute. Fire Level 0, Elf Egg Status, Gender. Female Characteristic. Fierce Fire Skills. Claw, Spark, Tail Shake, Alloy Claw, Smoke Screen Genetic Skills. Bite and Spray Flames, using genetics in genetics, note. A powerful little fire dragon. Qiufeng thought to himself, Ling Xinhui's little fire dragon didn't expect it to be so powerful. In the early stages, it could master the powerful jet flames. Then he looked at White Space's Pokémon egg. Elf. Chrysanthemum Leaves Attribute. Grass Level 0, Elf Egg Status, Gender. Male Characteristic. Lush Skills. Impact, Cry, Flying Leaf Blade, Juha Slash, Highly Poisonous Genetic Skills. Vine Whips, Parasitic Seeds Note. The powerful and cancerous chrysanthemum leaves. Qiufeng said bitterly, parasitic seeds, highly poisonous. Indeed, the grass-type Pokémon are poisonous tumors. After watching the Pokémon of the two, Qiufeng simply stopped looking and felt more and more heartbroken as he looked. He had no choice but to look at his Filial Desk mate to calm his mood. On the other hand, Zhang Jiehui looked at Elf Egg with a silly expression on his face. "Hee, you must be brave and not insult my father's lifespan." It was soon after school time, and since there were no classes in the afternoon, the school cafeteria naturally did not leave lunch. After returning home, my parents didn't come home for lunch due to work, so I picked up my own phone and dialed my dad's phone. "Hey, Dad, I want to buy a Pokémon incubator. Do you think it's possible, hee. Hahaha, no problem, what's the big deal? One incubator costs just over 1,000 yuan, buy it." Subsequently, 2,000 yuan was transferred to a certain letter, and it was noted that while eating out, I would also buy some elf supplies. Qiufeng didn't hesitate to take it down and then went out to the elf center. He came to the front desk and asked, "May I ask which floor the elf store is on, beautiful woman?" The receptionist smiled professionally and said, "Brother, the elf store is on the second floor." He pointed to the elevator on the left and said, "Just go up from here. If you want to treat Pok É Mon, you can arrange it here. The trading center is on the third floor." After learning the information, Qiufeng thanked the front desk and turned to the second floor. He didn't look or know, but was startled because there were no elves before and his parents were also engaged in other jobs, so without elves, he naturally wouldn't come to such a place. This place is simply amazing, selling elf eggs, items, and even elves. When Qiufeng was stunned, a waiter came to his side and said, "Hello, may I ask if you want to buy something or sell something?" Qiufeng also regained his senses and said, "Where is the elf incubator when I buy something?" "So you're also here to buy an elf incubator? Today's elf incubator is selling really well." Then, led by the waiter, Qiufeng arrived at the product cabinet of the elf incubator. He picked a relatively new one and said, "Excuse me, where do we sell elf's food? Let's go. Follow me." Led by the waiter, we arrived at the elf food cabinet. However, we used a loose weighing method here, and some were packaged, but it was twice as expensive. Qiufeng weighed 10 pounds of basic grain and some energy blocks based on Nidorang's poison attributes. The basic ones were not expensive, and 10 pounds of basic grain with poison attributes only cost 200 yuan. With 30 basic energy blocks added, the total cost was 500 yuan. Later, Qiufeng arrived at the cashier and paid 1800 before leaving the elf center. After eating a portion of yellow braised chicken rice at a restaurant, I returned home and put the Pok É Mon egg inside. Then, I poured in the nutrient solution from the incubator. Great success. Soon after, the incubator displayed, the expected incubation time for the elves is about 24 hours. Chapter 4. Dad of Niu Pi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Indeed, with the blessing of an incubator, elves can hatch faster, and at the same time, it is easier to be born with nutrient solution. That's good, you can't get trapped inside because you can't break the eggshell. Later, Qiufeng touched his chin and thought, now I have basic information about this world, and based on my current memory, I don't know much about Pok É Mon at all. So throughout the afternoon, Qiufeng searched for the abilities and changes of elves and some of their items. It was not until after 6 p.m. that Qiufeng turned off his phone, with a smile on his lips. In just one afternoon, one can master all the characteristics, skills, and items of the elves, based on the technology that these people can master today. In addition, Pok É Mon, Pokéball can create a spiritual connection with humans, enhancing Pok É Mon abilities and allowing the owner to improve their physical fitness. This afternoon was a significant gain, but unfortunately, this body doesn't have the ability to remember everything at a glance, otherwise some of the knowledge we just remembered wouldn't have been forgotten. After sighing to himself, Qiufeng laughed and said, "It's okay, the day will be long. Hey, how did I forget? Now that I have parents, I have to make a meal to show filial piety to the elderly. Just do what you say." According to previous memory, it took about an hour to make 3 dishes, 1 soup, mantu, rice and other household dishes. The time also arrived around 7:30, accompanied by the sound of the door opening, followed by the sentence, "Son, I'm back." This person's voice is exactly Qiufeng. As Qiufeng closed the door, she saw her son coming out of the kitchen with a bowl in his hand. Then the corner of his eye drifted towards the nearby dining table, surprised but also moved. "When did you learn to cook, son? How come I don't know?" Qiufeng scratched his head and chuckled, "Mom, aren't you not at home? I tried it myself, but I didn't expect it to be done. You try it first and see if it suits your taste." Okay, Mom's hands are dirty, go wash them first." Qiufeng smiled and looked at her son in front of her. "After washing my hands, I picked up my chopsticks with a touched heart and put a plate of shredded potatoes into my mouth. I saw Yi Yuqing looking at Yi Qiufeng with an incredulous expression on her face. Yi Qiufeng's heart tightened and he said resentfully, "What's wrong, Mom? It's not delicious." "If it's not delicious, I'll go make a new one." Later, Yi Yuqing also smiled happily and said, "It's delicious. How could it not be delicious? You don't seem to have just learned it, do you? Maybe I'm more talented, hee hee. Yi Yuqing also pondered under his chin, "Well, talent is really scary. At least you have the foundation to cook, so you won't be afraid of not having a job then." After Yi Qiufeng and his mother finished their meal, Yi Qiulin had just returned and immediately smelled the aroma of rice. "Hua! The food today is quite unique. Based on my years of experience, shouldn't this be made by an old witch?" After hearing these words, Yi Yuqing was instantly angry and said, "Old Yi, please say one more thing and give it a try." Yi Qiulin was suddenly awakened. Damn it, the salary increase is too happy and too fleeting. Then he leaned against his face and chuckled, "Wife, I'm sorry, my salary has increased by 200 yuan today. I'm excited for a moment. You've raised your salary, it's not bad. It's perfect to come and taste your son's cooking skills." Yi Qiulin looked at his son in surprise, because in his memory, his son had never even left the kitchen. "Son, you did this. Isn't this about wanting to be filial, hee. Okay. I truly deserve to be my son, it's okay." After speaking, Yi Qiulin picked up his chopsticks and started eating directly. It's so delicious, it's even better than what your mom made." Upon hearing this, Yi Yuqing also shook her head and said to Yi Qiulin in a strange tone, "Yeah, it's delicious." The large and blossoming Yi Qiulin completely forgot about Yi Yuqing at this moment. "If it's delicious, don't eat it," he said and quickly put away the plate. Watching Yi Qiulington, who only had rice and soup left, I realized that I had offended the mother tiger again. But it was too late, and the food had already been thrown into the trash can. Yi Qiulin is really mute eating Huanlian. He can't express his pain, so he can only go downstairs and buy 2 pancakes and fruit mats. After returning home, he asked, "Where is your elf egg, son? Let me take a look." Yi Yuqing on the side also agreed, "Yes, son, let me take a look too. Although I have seen elf eggs before, I can't help but feel a bit curious." Yi Qiufeng was naturally willing, or even unnecessary, to make requests from his parents. Later, Yi Qiufeng took the elf incubator out of his room. Looking at the elf egg covered in green liquid, the couple was also somewhat relieved, while also having longing and concern for their son. Yi Yuqing smiled and said, "Take good care of it. No matter what it hatches, you must take good care of it. Your generation is a golden generation with many talented people. Don't worry, Mom, I will. I am not a cold and ruthless person. Many people who abandon elves online also despise these people. Alright, we've had enough to eat and drink. We're back in the room now." After speaking, the old couple returned to their room and turned on the TV. And Yi Qiufeng slowly picked up the elf incubator and returned to his room. "Will it hatch tomorrow? I happened to go out and buy a Pok É Mon ball tomorrow, but I forgot to buy it today. Judging from my brain, I probably haven't adapted yet." Subsequently, Yi Qiufeng began planning Nidorang's training. Firstly, Nidorang is a toxic Pok É Mon, and currently, he cannot afford a poison needle with his own financial resources. It seems that we can only train from the skills and abilities that Nidorang possesses. Practicing accuracy is essential, and 2 consecutive kicks are combat-related skills. The fixed body technique can also be combined with chanting. However, newborn Nidorang clearly does not have combat ability, so the first thing to improve is his and Nidorang's physical fitness. In my past life, I had my own fitness routine, which was perfect for this body. Nidorang's growth period was still very short, and he could fight in about a week. So within a week, it is necessary to conduct physical training based on Nidorang's physical fitness. In addition, it is necessary to train its wildness and bloodiness, and not let it become a greenhouse flower. In my past life, I didn't know how many monsters and humans I had killed, so naturally I had my own way of training my bloodline. After an hour of planning, Qiufeng closed her diary and lay in bed brushing her phone. Qiufeng skillfully opened a certain sound and started scrolling through it one by one. Shocked. A man thought he was favored by heaven, so he directly ordered the large needlebee colony to obey him in the wild. It was obvious that he was stung into a big asterisk by the large needlebee. Shocked. A woman looked at the tail of her own ape snake and did this. Shocked. A man from a certain province of Lorda couldn't show his innocence to Chanado, so he was so angry and embarrassed that he wanted to confront Chanado. In the end, Chanado turned out to be a male. After brushing for half an hour, Qiufeng immediately turned off his phone because it was too eye-catching. Qiufeng leaned his forehead and muttered helplessly to himself, what kind of humor was the original owner? He was able to watch so many outrageous videos. Chapter 5. Birth. Nidorang. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Then I continued to search for knowledge about Pok É Mon online, and after 2 hours of hard work, I put down my phone and fell into a deep sleep. With the vibrant morning of the next day approaching, Qiufeng quickly went to the elf center to buy a elf ball after finishing breakfast and hurried back home. Continuing to tinker with Pok É Mon knowledge, it wasn't until around 2 p.m. that the Pok É Mon egg suddenly moved, followed by an alarm from the incubator. And Qiufeng watched with a nervous heart as the elf egg in front of him kept breaking. Keep going. You must succeed. Suddenly, a small head popped out from above the top of the eggshell, followed closely by feet and finally hands. Finally, the entire eggshell completely split apart, and Nidorang's figure was completely revealed before Qiufeng's eyes. At this moment, Nidorang picked up his eggshell and started eating it, which was also the first thing the newborn elf did. Looking at the purple little beast in front of me, Qiufeng couldn't express her heartwarming feelings. At this moment, Qiufeng used his special eyes to examine Nidorang. Elf. Nidorang attribute. Poison level. 1 gender. Male characteristic. Poisonous sting skills. Stare, poison needle, double kick, peck genetic skills. Fixed body method, chanting power note. Nidorang with good strength. After Nidorang finished eating the eggshell, Qiufeng greeted Nidorang. Hello Nidorang, we will be partners in the future. Nidorang tilted his head and watched as the two-legged beast in front of him suddenly called out twice, then rubbed against Qiufeng's left hand. Qiufeng thought happily to himself, did you treat me like a mother? It's pretty good. Nidorang, we will be partners in the future. Would you like to become my elf? At this point, Qiufeng slowly took out the elf ball. Nidorang immediately exclaimed happily twice, I am willing, I am willing. There is no need for Pok É Mon's cry here, so it can be explained more clearly in words. After forming a spiritual connection with the elf ball, Qiufeng said to Nidorang, so please help me a lot in the future. Come on, enter the elf ball and press the white button with your front paws. Without hesitation, Nidorang raised his right front paw and patted the button in front of the Pokemon ball. Immediately, a red light filled Nidorang's body and then entered the interior of the Pokemon ball. Nidorang did not struggle, and the Pokeball did not roll. He only heard a ding sound, and Nidorang was successfully subdued. Subsequently, Qiufeng felt a wonderful change in his body and felt that his strength had increased slightly. Is this the spiritual connection? It requires the wholehearted trust of Pok É Mon to create a connection. Later, Qiufeng happily released Nidorang, and then took out a bowl from the kitchen to grind the energy blocks into powder and put them into the poison-based food, handing them to Nidorang. Nidorang smelled the food in front of him and immediately seduced his taste buds. He took a mouthful full of happiness, and then wolfed it down. Qiufeng looked at Nidorang and smiled, "It seems like I'm starving." "Eat slowly, it's okay. After finishing, there's more." After Nidorang finished his meal, Qiufeng's eyes became firm and he said, "Nidorang, are you willing to fight with me? Let's improve our strength together and climb to the top of this world." Nidorang nodded firmly and said, "I am willing." "Great. Next, let's do some physical training. You run around this area and I'll see where your current limit is." Qiufeng was not idle either. He started doing push-ups on his own and found that his current push-up limit was 70, while Nidorang's limit was 40 laps. "Nidorang, you did a great job. For you who were just born, this is already very impressive." After praising Nidorang, Qiufeng poured some water for him and opened a bottle of mineral water to drink with a thud. In the blink of an eye, it was evening. Qiufeng still finished his meal and waited for his parents to come back. This time, because neither of them worked overtime, they came back together. When they saw Nidorang in front of them, both of them felt happy for their son. After all, although Nidorang was not strong before evolution, he was much better than elves like the green caterpillar, unicorn carp king. During this period, Qiufeng and Nidorang trained day after day, and finally, 6 days later, on Friday, a white light appeared on Nidorang's body. Then the light disappeared, and Nidorang successfully escaped from the growth period. At the same time, Qiufeng's strength has undergone another transformation, and Nidorang's height is also 0.4 meters. The picture book is 0.5 meters, but this little thing in the anime is not so high, so I wrote a similar one myself. Qiufeng can run the special eye to check. Elf. Nidorang attribute. Poison level. 6 gender. Male characteristic. Poisonous sting skills. Stare, poison needle, double kick, peck genetic skills. Fixed body method, chanting power note. Nidorang with good strength. Not bad, it went up 2 levels without the growth period, which can be considered a good start. Nidorang, do you have any discomfort? Nidorang responded to Qiufeng, "No, I feel even stronger than before." "Well, now you can train your skills. Let's go to the edge of the forest around Noken City and find some walking grass for experiments." After picking up Nidorang's fairy ball, he went to the store and bought a few bottles of insecticide spray and 3 fairy balls. Then he set out. Don't ask why he didn't buy injury medicine, because he didn't have money. After an hour's bus ride, 1 person and 1 elf arrived at the edge of the Noken forest, where trainers kept coming and going. Some people returned with a full load, while others were covered in injuries. Is this the danger of being a trainer? It's really a high-risk profession. After taking a long breath, Qiufeng walked into the forest and suddenly saw a solitary green caterpillar about 20 minutes later. Qiufeng was overjoyed and immediately instructed Nidorang to use a poison needle to attack. After receiving the command, Nidorang gathered the poison energy in his mouth and then vigorously sprayed it out. 5 purple poisonous needles shot towards the green caterpillar. Due to a surprise attack, the green caterpillar was caught off guard and let out a muffled cry in pain. However, Qiufeng's strong psychological qualities and analysis of the war situation never allow the green caterpillar to have a chance to breathe. Immediately, let Nidorang use his psychic powers, and Nidorang also instantly gathers superpower energy around the green caterpillar. At this moment, the green caterpillar only feels an invisible force pulling and wrapping itself, constantly squeezing and beating. But the green caterpillar, which is also at level 6, naturally won't be caught without restraint. Despite its wild nature, it disregards the consequences and forcefully breaks free from its constraints. As he landed, he continuously spat out white threads and attacked Nidorang. Qiufeng also understood that this was a silk spinning skill, and Nidorang instinctively dodged the blow. After that, Qiufeng shouted and rushed over to use a peck. As Nidorang quickly charged towards the green caterpillar, he condensed the energy of the flying system at his mouth, and soon formed a medium-sized bird beak attacking the green caterpillar. The green caterpillar looked at the rushing Nidorang, and its wildness made it unable to think. It also used impact to counterattack. But in terms of strength, Nidorang was even better, and the green caterpillar was heavily attacked without the protection of general energy. This blow directly causes it to be seriously injured. Later, Qiufeng asked Nidorang to give a peck, and the green caterpillar successfully went offline. Chapter 6. Killing the Walking Grass. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Looking at the unconscious green caterpillar, Qiufeng ran to the side of the caterpillar and turned on the button of the Pok É Mon ball. Red light covered the caterpillar's body. And this time the Pok É Mon ball just shook slightly before making a ding sound. Looking at the tamed green caterpillar, Qiufeng smiled and looked at Nidorang. Well done, Nidorang, this is your first victory in life. Nidorang also responded happily. At this moment, Qiufeng realized that he had not locked the Pok É ball. As Qiufeng held down the Pok É ball for about 4 seconds, the Pok É ball button emitted a red light and then disappeared. Is this the locked state? It's quite magical. Although the level 6 green caterpillar is very weak, the market price is around a few hundred yuan, which can be considered a good price. Qiufeng didn't stay much, turned around and wandered towards the edge of the Nuajin forest. On the way, I also met many trainers, some of whom had a strong and overwhelming aura, while others were newcomers like Qiufeng. About 20 minutes later, by a river, Qiufeng was hiding in the grass and observing 3 walking grass that were feeding on the Carp King. Then I opened my special eyes and began to examine. 1 level 5, 2 level 6, it's not easy to adjust. Nowadays, it's a bit troublesome for Nidorang to compete with one of the same level, let alone 2. Qiufeng thinks about it for a while and then turns to his own insecticide spray. It would be better if he sprayed spray around himself. Sigh no, it won't work for Nidorang either. Take a gamble. Turning to look at Nidorang, Nidorang, you'll hold on to the left and middle walking grass later, and I'll go deal with the other one. After Nidorang confidently responded, Qiufeng sprayed himself with a pesticide spray. Nidorang, first use your psychic power to lift the middle one and deal as much damage as you can. Upon hearing this, Nidorang exerted all his psychic power, while the walking grass was eating the body of the Carp King, completely unaware of the impending danger. The 5th level walking grass in the middle suddenly felt an invisible force lifting itself into the air. Nidorang suddenly exerted force, and the lifted walking grass suddenly let out a painful cry. This move has an outstanding effect, and the 2 walking grass below are also a bit confused. However, in a situation where the level was too low, the wild nature of the walking grass forcefully broke free from the package of mental power. But as soon as they landed, they fell down, and Qiufeng and Nidorang quickly emerged from the grass. Qiufeng didn't wait for the walking grass to react, so he lifted his leg and kicked towards the walking grass on the right. However, due to the lack of instructions from the trainer, Nidorang started with 2 consecutive kicks, but was easily dodged by the walking grass. The walking grass, who was facing Qiufeng, smelled a repulsive smell at this moment. I can't concentrate on attacking the humans in front of me. But Qiufeng didn't care much and kicked over again. There were no flashy movements with this kick, and it was obvious that walking grass was not meant to eat dry food. It was natural to dodge human attacks. After evading, the walking grass condensed a green light cluster and quickly attacked Qiufeng. Qiufeng instinctively dodged and exclaimed, "Wah, if you get hit, you must be drained of your strength." Looking at the walking grass in front of him, Qiufeng regretted not buying a dagger as a protective weapon. Qiufeng dared not neglect and kicked towards the walking grass again. This attack was even more rapid, and the back sway of the walking grass skill was not over yet, and he was hard hit. But part of the reason is the insecticide spray, which is really refreshing for the elves. At this point, the walking grass not only faces physical attacks, but also mental attacks. A dual approach prevents them from fighting with peace of mind. Qiufeng saw the opportunity to quickly approach the walking grass and kicked it with his right foot. Although the appearance was comical, it was very effective. Shortly after, the walking grass fainted with the support of physical and mental attacks. After subduing and locking the walking grass, he turned his head and saw that Nidorang was being surrounded by 2 walking grass. Ah, it's still a bit slow. Then, while the other level 6 walking grass was not on guard, he stepped up and kicked it. This level 6 walking grass is obviously the same as the walking grass just now, experiencing physical and mental attacks. It has already suffered serious injuries and can't stand up now. At this moment, Nidorang and the last walking grass both began to pant heavily. At this time, Qiufeng did not dare to come to Nidorang. After all, he still had the effect of spray. Can Nidorang still use his mental power once? After dodging the flying blade of the walking grass, Nidorang nodded to signal. Nidorang, use your chanting power on the ground of the walking grass to make the dust fly. Due to the use of divine language, their hearts were almost instantly exchanged. Nidorang condensed his superpower and used his chanting power towards the body of the walking grass. In an instant, the dust around the walking grass covered it. At this moment, the walking grass recoiled from the unknown attack. But at this moment, Nidorang launched a venomous needle attack towards the position where he was walking on the grassland. The walking grass let out a muffled groan from the blow, and by then the dust had disappeared. In the moment of disappearance, Nidorang condensed the energy of the flying system in his mouth, transformed into a bird's beak, and attacked towards the walking grass. The walking grass obviously didn't react and took a hard blow before finally falling down unwillingly. Upon seeing this scene, Qiufeng immediately ran over and pressed the button of the Pok É Mon ball to subdue it. Then, looking at the fainting 6th level walking grass, Qiufeng released the awakened green caterpillar. At this point, the green caterpillar has awakened, but it is still in a seriously injured state and cannot attack. Qiufeng didn't pay attention to the green caterpillar and walked directly towards the walking grass. After subduing the walking grass, he said to Nidorang, use a peck to kill the green caterpillar. Nidorang, without any hesitation, used his limited physical strength to kill the green caterpillar. And the green caterpillar had no way to avoid it. After all, it was difficult for it to stand up at this time, let alone fight back. Under the attack of Nidorang's peck, the green caterpillar had no breath. Qiufeng, who saw the situation, also directly asked Nidorang to eat the green caterpillar. Qiufeng looked at Nidorang eating without any sympathy for the green caterpillar. At the same time, he muttered to himself, after all, it's common to see wild elves eating humans or humans eating elves, or elves eating elves. Immediately, his face darkened and he said, also. Including. People eating people. After Nidorang finished eating the green caterpillar, Nidorang's body once again emitted a faint light. At the same time, Qiufeng also felt a slight increase in his strength. Chapter 7. Leaving the Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. This made Qiufeng, who was happy, open his special eyes to examine Nidorang. Elf. Nidorang attribute. Poison level. Level 7 gender. Male characteristic. Poisonous sting skills. Stare, poison needle, double kick, peck genetic skills. Fixed body method, chanting power note. Nidorang with good strength. Qiufeng laughed heartily when he saw Nidorang being promoted by 1 level. Nidorang, you're amazing. You've been promoted 1 level so quickly. Nidorang also responded happily, yes, Mom. Oh no, it's a partner. Hey, hello, Nidorang. I'm a man and he can't be a mother unless. Nidorang tilted his head and asked, unless for something. Qiufeng coughed awkwardly on the cover and said, unless our strength reaches a certain level, yes. To a certain extent. Nidorang would also respond happily, okay. I want to become strong so that my partner can also be strong. In this way, you can become my mother. Qiufeng, who had just turned on the mineral water and drank it, was immediately choked on, but as he looked at Nidorang with an innocent expression on his face, he didn't say anything. Qiufeng thought to himself, if deception were a capital offense, I would probably die 10,000 times. After resting for half an hour for Nidorang, one person and one elf returned to the city without any danger on the way. After arriving at the trading center of the Elf Center, under the guidance of the service station, we arrived at the place where we bought and sold elves. When Qiufeng placed 3 walking grass sprite balls on the counter, the salesperson looked at Qiufeng with some surprise. Although these 3 walking grass were very weak, Qiufeng's age surprised him even more. But surprisingly, he didn't say anything. After verification, the salesperson collected 3 Pok É Mon balls. Brother, these 3 walking grass and Pok É Mon balls are priced at a total of 3,000 yuan. Please keep them safe. Subsequently, the salesperson explained the pricing to Qiufeng. 2 level 6 walking grass plants cost 1,000 yuan each, and level 5 walking grass plants cost 800 yuan. In addition, we will only settle the Pok É Mon ball for you at the factory price of 200 yuan. Qiufeng nodded on the surface, but started cursing behind his back, damn it, what the hell. I spent 500 yuan to buy 3 Pok É Mon balls, but ended up recycling 200 yuan. Wait, the factory price, which means the store's purchase price. 6. Huge profits. After leaving the elf shop, Qiufeng was also happy. Later, throw away the money to buy 500 yuan worth of elf food for Nidorang. Then Qiufeng began to calculate. Subtract the fairy ball money from 300 yuan and the money from the insecticide spray, and the total is 600 yuan. Then I sold 200 yuan worth of Pok É Mon balls, and then subtracted 500 yuan from the cost of Pok É Mon food. Sigh. How much? Oh, the total is 2001. Wow, I didn't expect to invest much and earn a lot. Hehe, that's really great. After buying Nidorang's food, I went to the noodle shop and had a bowl of noodles before returning home. After preparing food for Nidorang, Qiufeng rested for 2 hours. Then he put back the 800 yuan he took out of the cabinet without telling his parents. At that moment, the phone suddenly rang, and Qiufeng picked up his phone and saw that it was Zhang Jiahui calling. Hello, Jiahui, what can I do for you? Qiufeng, come to our house and let's have a Pok É Mon battle. Okay. No problem, has your Pok É Mon left its growth stage? Zhang Jiahui looked at Qiufeng like a fool and said, what you said is really farting after taking off your pants. It's unnecessary. Qiufeng finally realized that he was talking nonsense about literature. Okay, I'll tidy up and go over. Then he called Nidorang and said, let's leave Nidorang and fight against Zhang Jiahui's Bobo. Nidorang has long developed a friendship with Zhang Jiahui, and naturally, Nidorang will not refuse such things. Nidorang took the initiative to enter the Pok É Ball. After getting on the bus, Qiufeng arrived at Zhang Jiahui's downstairs in about 20 minutes and sent him a message before sitting down in the lounge chair. 5 minutes later, Zhang Jiahui, wearing a vest and shorts, gave Qiufeng a bear hug. Zhang Jiahui pointed to the innermost small square and said, let's go, there is an elf battlefield in our community. After walking for 2 minutes, the two of them arrived at this venue. The venue is not large, but there are enough new trainers here to compete. As you choose, Zhang Jiahui confidently released Bobo and said, come out, Bobo, come and fight against Nidorang. Qiufeng also said, Nidorang, you can't lose your momentum. Come out. With the opening of the elf balls on both sides, Zhang Jiahui took out the elf guidebook. Hua. Qiu's Nidorang has already reached level 7. So fast. Qiufeng already knew the level of Bobo, but still asked symbolically, I feel like your Bobo is above level 5, right? Hey. You guessed so accurately. My Bobo just reached level 5 today. But the difference between our two levels is too big, I guess I'll lose. Let's do our best, I won't let go, said Yi Qiufeng in a cheap tone. Zhang Jiehui also snorted, who asked you to release water? I want to see where the limit of my waves is. Since Popo is at a lower level than Nidorang, let's attack first. Go, Bobo. Use sand splashing. Accompanied by the ground system energy generated by Bobo's feet, a large amount of sand was generated from his feet and scattered towards Nidorang. After Nidorang almost instinctively dodged the blow, Yi Qiufeng said, mindfulness. Zhang Jiehui heard that Nianli was completely dumbfounded, but before he could react, Bobo was already enveloped by Nianli. Nidorang exerted his strength, and Bobo let out a groan in pain. Zhang Jiehui immediately ordered, Bobo used a flash of lightning to break through the package of Nianli. As a regular resident of novice trainers, Bobo naturally has its reasons. I saw Bobo gathering general energy all over his body, fully breaking free from the package of Nianli. However, at this point, Bobo was already gasping for breath. After all, the package of mental energy would not be too low for the current Bobo. With the waves breaking through the package of Nianli, he once again exerted his strength and rushed towards Nidorang. Nidorang. Use a double kick to meet you. Nidorang also condenses fighting energy, but the speed of the lightning flash is naturally not something that Nidorang can reflect now. Nidorang, who was hit by a flash of lightning, also launched a forced counterattack. Two consecutive kicks also took advantage of the time when the wave skill shook back and hit at the same time. Both sides are experiencing pain, but it is clear that Nidorang will have the upper hand again. Later, Popo and Nidorang parted positions and said, Popo, use the wind. Nidorang uses the immobilization technique. Zhang Jiehui was taken aback and said, what? How could you still use the immobilization technique? The waves of this meeting always feel like there is some force preventing it from using the wind. But at the same time, I also feel that my actions are becoming more difficult. Chapter 8. Drink, you guys drink. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yi Qiufeng shouted, Nidorang, go ahead and use a double kick. After Nidorang released the immobilization effect of the immobilization technique, he rushed directly over. Zhang Jiehui shouted excitedly, quickly dodge. But it was too late, as the waves in the sky had already lost their center of gravity. Nidorang looked at Popo with a smile on his face at this moment, and then kicked towards his chest twice. This kick only knocked it down and didn't cause much damage. Yi Qiufeng shook his head and said, alright, in my opinion, that's it. Zhang Jiehui pouted and said, oh, it wasn't me who said you. When did you become so abnormal? Isn't it even more outrageous for Bai Aerospace and Ling Xinhui in our class? After all, they belong to the Imperial 3 family. Zhang Jiehui waved his hand and said, there's nothing we can do. Who can give someone a background? Let's settle down. Then Zhang Jiehui hugged Yi Qiufeng's neck and said, let's go to my house and have a drink. Yi Qiufeng chuckled and said, you understand me, kid. Zhang Jiehui seemed to have remembered something and said, by the way, call Hu Wenbin over too. Ah. All right. It's a pity that Hu Wenbin didn't share the same class with us. Later, Yi Qiufeng picked up the phone and called Hu Wenbin directly. With the ringing of his phone, Hu Wenbin also answered the call. Hey, what's wrong, young Master Yi? Get out of here, day after day, you keep calling me Master Yi. Why do you want to be my servant? Go to the side of death, even if it's for the dog, it won't be for you. Well, then, I'm a dog. Zhang Jiehui has settled in Bengbu on the side, completely settled in Bengbu. Hello, Hu Wenbin, this is what you said. Don't go back on your word, he chuckled on his own on the other end of the phone. Hu Wenbin's face turned black and he said, go ahead, tell me something. Yi Qiufeng also chuckled, "It's nothing, I'm just looking for you to drink some wine." "Oh, is there such a good thing? Come right away, give me the address." Zhang Jiehui said with a strange expression, "Brother Hu, come to my house, I'll drink you to death." "Oh my, you kid, wait," Hu knocked over Hu's grandson. Then he hung up the phone directly. Zhang Jiehui smiled and said, "Let's go to my house and wait for him." Later, Yi Qiufeng followed Zhang Jiehui to his home. Due to Zhang Jiehui's parents also going out to work, this point is not at home. Later, Zhang Jiehui directly took out 3 bottles of beer from the refrigerator, placed them directly on the coffee table, and also took out a bag of peanuts. Yi Qiufeng looked at Zhang Jiehui with a strange expression and said, "I said, just 3 bottles of beer, 1 bottle per person. Who can drink this to death?" Zhang Jiehui said awkwardly, "Hee, isn't this the fridge out of ice? I'll go to my room and get it later." After about 15 minutes, Hu Wenbin called Zhang Jiehui. "Hello, Zhang Laodi, come out and open the door. I'm at your doorstep." Zhang Jiehui smiled and said, "Ah, I won't open it, I won't open it." But joking aside, the body is still very honest. Hu Wenbin looked at the 3 bottles of wine on the coffee table and the one on the ground and said, "I'll dry 1 bottle for now." After speaking, he opened another bottle of beer and drank it with a clang. Then the 2 of them didn't hesitate to start drinking. So it wasn't until 7 p.m. that Zhang Jiehui's father came back and was completely numb. These 3 people knelt in front of the statue of Guangong and fell asleep helpless. Zhang's father could only call the parents of Hu Wenbin and Yi Qiufeng. After making the phone call, Zhang's father began to lift the 3 of them onto the sofa. Looking at the 3 of them with a helpless expression on his face, he said, "Are you all dumbfounded by the strong alcohol smell on your 3 bodies?" Then he complained, "Just drink, why are you making the house so messy?" After speaking, he began to tidy up the room. Not long after, Zhang's mother also returned and couldn't help but shake her head as she watched the scene before her. After about half an hour, Yi Qiufeng's parents came to Zhang Jiehui's house. "Sorry, we Qiufeng didn't understand and caused trouble for you too," he said apologetically. Zhang's father smiled and said, "It's okay, Qiulin. Where are you from?" "You're welcome." After a few pleasantries, Yi Qiulin picked up his son and took a taxi home. After returning home, Yi Qiulin carefully carried Yi Qiufeng back to his room and carefully closed the door. Returning to the living room, Yi Qiulin finally remembered that his son Nidorang seemed to have not had dinner yet. Then he carefully took out his son's Poké ball and opened it with his fingerprints. As soon as Nidorang came out, Yi Qiulin booed. After slowly handing Nidorang's food to him, he left the room. So it continued until the next morning, when Yi Qiufeng, feeling dizzy, rubbed his eyes and yawned. Am I at home? Oh, Yi Qiufeng searched his brain. I drank too much last night. Sigh, if I had known earlier, I would have acted within my capacity. Then slowly push open the door. Yi Yuqing saw that her son had just woken up and put down the plate in his hand. Qiufeng, when you wake up, go wash up and eat. You drank a lot yesterday. Yi Qiufeng also scratched his head and chuckled, isn't this drinking too much? Due to the weekend, Yi Qiulin and Yi Yuqing are not working. At this moment, Yi Qiulin returned from outside. When Yi Qiufeng saw his father coming back from outside, he couldn't help but ask curiously, Dad, where did you go? It was early morning. Yi Qiulin slowly took out an elf guidebook from his pocket. Oh, my son gave you a good thing. As a trainer, how could you not have a picture book? After receiving the guidebook, Yi Qiufeng felt a little heartwarming. After thanking him, he said, by the way, Dad, this morning I'll go to the Nuajin forest. The 2 of them immediately understood what their son was going to when they heard that he was going to Noken forest. Yi Yuqing also shouted and rebuked, don't go. How dangerous the wilderness is. Many trainers have sacrificed their lives in the wilderness just for money. Yi Qiufeng agreed, yes, son, the wilderness is too dangerous. As Yi Qiufeng watched his parents persuade him, he naturally knew that they were doing it for his own good and not willing to take risks on his own. But Yi Qiufeng responded firmly, Dad, Mom, I know you're doing it for my good. But I want to become stronger, I want you no longer to do it for 8 to 7. I also don't want you two to squeeze the bus every day. I want you to live a good life, and now I have the ability to do so. The two of them didn't speak. Yi Qiufeng took a breath and said, I also want to become stronger, and at the same time, I want to share the family. Please allow me to be capricious. Without looking back, he picked up the Pok É Mon ball and walked out the door. Chapter 9. Entering the Forest. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Watching her son leave the door, Yi Yuqing shed tears. Looking at Yi Qiufeng with a crying voice, why is this child so stubborn? Yi Qiufeng sighed and said, my son has his own ideals, and we should support them. You said it's easy, but isn't my son's life fate? Of course I know my son's fate is fate, but now that he is so determined, let's support him, after all, he will always go his own way. Yi Qiufeng, who had left the door, also felt a sense of regret for his previous actions. At this moment, the phone suddenly rang, and it was a message from Yi Qiufeng. Son, I support you, and your mother also supports you, come on. Looking at this news, Yi Qiufeng smiled happily and put his phone into his pocket. Then he walked into the trading center of the Elf Center with great strides, bought 5 elf balls, healing medicine, and some useful items. Then I checked the picture book and found out that Yi Qiufeng wanted to conquer some Pok É Mon or rock series from the flying series. After reading the picture guide, I locked my target on the Little Fist Stone and Popo. Then I looked at the layout plan of the Noken Forest in the guidebook, and there may be Popo and Little Fist Stones in that area. After confirming the approximate location, following the navigation in the guidebook, we arrived at a river area in less than 40 minutes. Yi Qiufeng closed the navigation and looked around, is this the place where waves often appear? You need to take it easy. Along the way, Yi Qiufeng discovered several waves, but unfortunately, they were all level 10 upwards and not something that Nidorang could fight against. After another half-hour of searching, the Emperor finally disregarded those with intentions and saw an 8-level wave next to a small puddle. Yi Qiufeng looked at the ripples in front of him, mentally calculating that the difference was 1 level, and he didn't feel very big. There was hope. Then, in divine language, he met with Nidorang's soul and said, Nidorang, later you will use the poison needle to attack Bobo. If you can make a profit, but if you can't, it's okay. After hearing Yi Qiufeng's instructions, Nidorang exerted all his strength to condense the poisonous energy and shot towards Bobo who was drinking water. At this moment, Bobo was still immersed in the joy of drinking water, and suddenly, based on the vigilance in the wild, it discovered the clues. But it was too late, and the poison needle shot continuously at Bobo. Bobo let out a painful scream and then used the wind in the direction of the poisonous needle. Just as Bobo was about to use the wind, Nidorang's immobilization technique had already been activated. Bobo was a bit confused, unable to use his skills. Yi Qiufeng originally wanted Nidorang to use the immobilization technique to see if he could slow down Bobo's movements, but there was a slight level difference and he couldn't achieve it. At this moment, Nidorang jumped out of the grass and glared at Popo. And at this moment, Bobo surprisingly developed fear. Disrupted the psychology. But level 8 Bobo obviously wouldn't be so foolish, only allowing Nidorang to use his ultimate move. Subsequently, the waves condensed and energy enveloped the entire body, creating a stunning flash of lightning. Upon seeing this scene, Yi Qiufeng immediately commanded, use your mental power to stop it. Nidorang dared not delay, but the level 8 wave had already surpassed Nidorang's attack speed and arrived in front of him in just about 2 seconds. Nidorang forcefully took a burst of electricity and then let out a painful scream. Yi Qiufeng asked anxiously, Nidorang. How are you doing? Nidorang stood up at this moment and responded, "I'm fine. This guy is really powerful." Then Qiufeng continued, "Use your mental power to attack it." But Bobo didn't give a chance and another impact rushed over. Damn it. Nidorang used a poison needle. Just as Bobo was about to collide with Nidorang, the poison needle also shot through. Nidorang received a flash of lightning and another impact, and at this point, its arm was already in excruciating pain. Just when Qiufeng didn't know what was going on, Bobo suddenly appeared abnormal. I saw Bobo with a painful expression on his face, while purple gas was still emanating from his body. Qiufeng was secretly happy in his heart. Great. Nidorang, it's in a poisoned state. Qiufeng dared not delay, quick. Nidorang. Use a double kick. At this time, due to poisoning, Bobo was unable to fight wholeheartedly, and in a panic, he could only use the sand-throwing skill. But he was easily dodged by Nidorang, and then he successfully hit with a one-shot, 2 consecutive kicks. Don't give it a chance to breathe, use your mental power. Nidorang also quickly condensed the energy of the super energy system into the wave body. Bobo instinctively felt the crisis and wanted to use lightning to dodge, but as it was already at a low level, it couldn't concentrate on condensing general energy. Bobo could only watch as he was lifted up, and then he felt his body constantly being squeezed. Accompanied by the constant consumption of energy due to poisoning, as well as the continuous output of Nidorang. Bobo was completely enraged and his wildness was awakened. I saw Bobo falling into a state of madness, disregarding everything and even hearing the sound of bones breaking. Forcefully break free from my obsession. But as soon as he landed, he fell down. Qiufeng dared not delay and asked Nidorang to give him a peck. After that, Bobo fainted. In order to ensure a foolproof outcome, when subduing Bobo, Nidorang was constantly instructed to use his psychic power to prevent Bobo from launching a counterattack on the brink of death. This time, the Pok É Mon ball did not shake. With a clang, Qiufeng quickly locked the Pok É Mon ball to prevent it from escaping. After administering medication to Nidorang, he rested in place for a while and continued on his journey. Fortunately, on the way, I also encountered a shield armor cocoon that had no attack power and was knocked unconscious by Nidorang's vivid use of his mental energy. Qiufeng looked at the remaining 3 Pok É Mon balls and decided to use them all to capture the little fist stone, or to accept any Pok É Mon that were easier to deal with. After Qiufeng skillfully opened the navigation system of the elf guidebook, he arrived at a flat bottom according to the navigation. Qiufeng secretly looked at the small fist stone in front of him and then said, "Excuse me. Oh my goodness, this is only level 15. How do we fight?" "Hit with your head." After another 20 minutes of searching, he finally encountered a level 6 hazelnut ball, but this guy used the Big Bang as soon as he arrived. Fortunately, the level is low, otherwise it would really be blown up into sand coins. Qiufeng said straightforwardly, "I have prepared my tactics, but did you commit suicide and return to heaven?" Qiufeng was also happy about it, as he could earn money without fighting. Why not do it? After putting the hazelnut ball into the Pok É Mon ball, after 10 minutes of searching, I finally met a hairy ball. Qiufeng was speechless all over. Is this guidebook poisonous? There's no water source or forest in this place. Are you here? The guidebook also says, you don't like plains. However, roast belongs to roast. Since you are here, please stay. Looking at the level 7 hairball in front of me, combined with Qiufeng's command, in no time, I won the hairball at the cost of Nidorang's minor injury. Chapter 10. Encountering the Abe Snake. You are listening at novelfull.audio. After Qiufeng collected Mao Qiu, he stopped and rested in place. During this period, Qiufeng did not dare to relax his guard. After all, there were too many elves in Nidorang to fight against today. After resting for about 10 minutes, Qiufeng patted his buttocks. Let's continue, Nidorang. After Nidorang responded, he followed Qiufeng with constant vigilance. After walking for an unknown amount of time, Qiufeng and Nidorang, who had no clue, rested in place. At this moment, the nearby grass suddenly made a rustling sound. This made Qiufeng and Nidorang instantly alert, each with a nervous expression staring at the grass. Just like this, it remained for a minute, and Qiufeng was no longer retained. Nidorang, use poison needles on the grass. After receiving the command, Nidorang did not hesitate and shot a poisonous needle towards the grass ahead. However, as soon as the poison needle reached the front of the grass, it was completely blocked by the poison needle. In the end, the mysterious creature in the grass finally revealed its face. It can be seen that its body is mostly purple, and its tail has a series of spherical tails arranged from large to small. A yellow line appeared around the neck, and the yellow eyes were even more chilling. Immediately, Qiufeng checked the information of Pok É Mon in front of him. Elf. Arbor Snake Attribute. Poison Level. 7 Gender. Male Feature. Intimidation Skills. Stare, Poison Needle, Tie, Bite Genetic Skills. None Note. Pok É Mon with mediocre strength, with any signs of tapping into potential. Have you never explored your potential? Even if you're at the same level, it's still easy to win. Nidorang. Use your mental power. Nidorang did not hesitate and condensed the superpower energy towards the Arbor Snake in front of him. At this time, the Abe Snake also sensed the energy of the surrounding super energy system. Abe Snake also uses the binding skill to wrap the body with regular energy for resistance. But now, after several battles, Nidorang's skills and comprehensive qualities are no longer comparable to Nidorang, who just broke through level 7. And Abe Snake let out a loud roar and exerted all his strength to break free from his thoughts. Without hesitation, I directly activated my own characteristics and intimidated. And at this moment, Nidorang suddenly felt an uncontrollable sense of fear. It has an impact, but not very significant. Is it intimidating? I feel an indescribable psychological suppression. Then he let out a cold snort and said, Nidorang. Use your glaring eyes to hit back. Nidorang instantly condensed general energy to bless his eyes. I saw a bright gray light in Nidorang's eyes, while the Abe Snake across from him trembled when he saw Nidorang's eyes. An Abe Snake won't seize the opportunity, but Qiufeng will. Nidorang, use your psychic attacks again. At this moment, Abe Snake had just realized and was about to repeat his old trick, but it was still too late. The Abe Snake, enveloped in its psychic power, screamed incessantly, and in the end, its desire for survival was instantly ignited. Use poison needles to attack Nidorang without killing anyone. But all of these were successfully avoided by Nidorang. Upon seeing this scene, the Abe Snake immediately turned its head and attacked the human in front of it. However, during its heyday, the Arbor Snake, due to its presence in Nidorang, was unable to easily kill the humans in front of it, let alone the current situation. Even if Nidorang didn't help, all the poisonous needles flying in were dodged by Qiufeng. Finally, after Nidorang's psychic ability was completed, the Aberdeen was able to be liberated, but at this point, the Aberdeen no longer had any strength to counterattack. If given a chance, it will never be tempted by the small benefits in front of it. If given a chance, it would rather keep eating unicorns and little Lottas, or some weaker elves like the Carp King. However, all of this is in vain. Qiufeng did not hesitate and asked Nidorang to give the Abe Snake a final blow. Later, seeing that Abe Snake still had a breath, he immediately took out a dagger and stabbed it towards Abe Snake's 7-inch mark. The Abe Snake lost its life before even having a chance to scream. The reason why it's not sold for money is very simple. One reason is that the level of the Arbor Snake is too low and the cost of domestication is too high, making it difficult for beginners to choose. The second reason is that the Arbor Snake cannot be domesticated or brought to the dining table by humans. So except for high-level Abe snakes, these low-level Abe snake venom sacs cannot sell for a good price, and there is nothing to sell for snake skin, so naturally keeping it is of no use. Qiufeng directly asked Nidorang to eat all the essence of the arbor snake, but not all of them were wasted. After eating for nearly 5 minutes, Nidorang's body shone again. After a flash of light, Qiufeng looked happily at Nidorang. Ha ha ha, Nidorang, you have successfully upgraded by 1 level again. 2 days. I improved by 2 levels. This is very difficult for the vast majority of new trainers. Then picking up Nidorang was a messy kiss, making Nidorang feel embarrassed. But at this moment, Nidorang suddenly realized that his poison sting trait had not been regained. But it was already too late, and at this moment, Qiufeng's body began to show purple gas, and his expression suddenly became dazed. But with the psychological resilience of his past life, he persevered and took the poison to recover. This time, Qiufeng felt a bit embarrassed. Damn it! I really forgot about Nidorang's stinging nature. But Nidorang chuckled and said, "Partner, you're so good at playing, ha ha ha." Cough cough cough, Nidorang, don't laugh anymore. You agreed to be a good partner. Then he used his special eyes to check Nidorang's information. Elf. Nidorang attribute. Poison level. Level 8 gender. Male characteristic. Poisonous sting skills. Stare, poison needle, double kick, gouge, juha slash. Genetic skills. Fixed body method, chanting power note. Nidorang with good strength. Oh, not bad, Nidorang, you actually understood the juha slash. Nidorang also nodded and said, I didn't know why just now, but suddenly I felt like I had acquired a skill. Qiufeng also smiled and said, come on. Let's try the specific power of your juha slash. Then he pointed to the nearby rock and said, use the juha slash on this rock. Nidorang immediately condensed general energy in front of his body, then transformed into a sharp knife and charged towards the stone in front. When approaching the rock, the transformed knife slashed directly towards the rock. With a loud bang, a 2 mm deep scratch appeared on the rock body. Qiufeng praised happily, very good. Not bad, it's already very powerful for you to showcase your current strength. Nidorang also exclaimed happily.